Hey everyone, this is Jaxie, and today we are going to get excited about history with decisive battles in Italy. So right now we're starting with the British 8th Army. We have another surrender chance for Italy, and we are trying to push out our beachhead so we don't have to keep landing in the very, very tip. So now if you see the 1st Canadian Recon Regiment, they can actually move up and land closer to Sealy? I don't know, my Italian is as bad as anything that is not German or English, quite frankly. I think Sealy. So, we are moving up, and the Canadians are going to kind of fan out here. I want to make contact with the Americans near Ragusa as quickly as possible. I don't want to let the Italians and later the Germans have any sort of way to drive a wedge. If I can have them make contact, then I can start pushing towards Messina in the east and then Palermo in the west. I don't want to get caught fighting over the rough terrain in the middle. Historically, Patton flanked around to the west, hit Palermo, and then cut over to Messina, and then the British went east, just straight up the coast. I want to kind of stick with that because I know it works, and 30 turns seems like a long time, but for the correct amount of victory points, even if you are winning the casualty battle, you really got to watch not taking those bigger victory locations too long. So I'm able to move up some supplies. They should, if they're near these ports, be able to supply me nicely. I have a lot of units coming in, especially a lot of support units, but the 8th Army is going to get 2 supply units. That should be plenty for the Brits and the Canadians. I'm not really concerned yet as far as where I'm going with things. I don't think the Canadians are going to go so far west when they meet up at Ragusa that they're going to go out of those supply lines. And then with all of these beautiful roads in the east, as long as I stick to the coast, I don't think I'm going to have any issues supplying those either. But right now, still at 50% global supply. My units can still fight pretty well, but they're definitely not overflowing with ammo and fuel yet. And we're just going to creep forward slowly. If I can get to Augusta, that would be nice. If I can't, I can't. But I think Syracuse is firmly ours, and I don't have to worry about that at all. 50th Infantry, going to follow up there. The British, they're going to have a pretty narrow front, and historically, for how many units they had and the narrowness of the front, it was quite a battle. I don't know how quick we're going to be able to go here, but right now we're just fanning out. We haven't seen the bulk of Italian units, and we have not seen any German units so far. And as we all know, it's not going to really get exciting here until the Germans show up and we start seeing panzers. But historically, and this game is pretty good about its table of equipment, we know some panzers and some Fallschirmjägers, they are going to show up. Nothing in range. That's probably about it for the 8th Army. And the U.S. is very spread out. You'll notice here the Italians do want to try to pick off some paratroopers, especially the regiments that are too far out. So I'm going to take the 45th Infantry and the 1st and push up. I don't want the 1st to go too far away from anything useful. I think I'll keep them kind of close until I know more about how things are going to look. But I really don't want my paratroopers to get cut off. I have to pull them back, pull them into a line. I might be overly conservative here. That's kind of an old habit from the other scenarios. The Salerno and Anzio scenarios are harrowing, and if you push too far forward in those ones, in the initial landings, they will definitely make you pay. I still think it's better to conserve my units and then counterattack than to not. Licata, I do want to push west a little bit. I have a pretty good line here. I'm going to double up a couple of these units just because they are in some areas where they could get concentric attacked, and that would not be good. I'm going to bring up those auto weapons, and then I think I actually forget about them for a little bit, but it's not a huge deal. I get the 3rd Infantry moving up about as much as it can. The Italians are starting to blow bridges, and they are doing just as many airstrikes as I am, so only going to be able to move up so far, but I think I have a decent ring of defense. I'm just checking to make sure there's no units in the sea lanes. Nothing so far. So I probably could have pushed up a little more, but frankly, I do not have the combat power to get the good types of concentric attacks that I need to really push the Italians back. I am the Allies. It's just kind of, I'm going to have overwhelming force, and the longer the game goes, the more it's going to be in my favor. I have some armor starting to arrive, but I'm going to have to wait a little bit before I get the rest. Right now, Syracuse looks good, and I think we're in a decent position. I just have to do my interdictions. I know there's some German units on the way at some point, so I want to make sure I keep these roads locked down as much as possible, which isn't very much. I don't have any American air available this turn. Looking around, yeah, we should be good. Let's see if they do any counterattacks. They do move up, they start stacking their units, but pretty easy turn, no Germans yet, so I think this next turn, I'm going to start launching attacks on the Italians. I think before the Germans show up, there's going to be some vulnerability here. I've lost 0 units that I need, and so I'm excited for next turn. I think I'm in a good position to really start hitting the Italians hard, especially where it looks like they don't have a lot of flank support. But if you guys have been enjoying, leave a comment, let me know what you think, set a like or subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video.